Oh, I just finished recording this video on election fraud in Georgia, that's the country Georgia, and fake fraud in Pennsylvania. And I just feel like I need to do another one here, just really briefly to talk about how to spot fraud. So in that video, I was talking about what was going on in Georgia, the stuffing of the mailboxes, or the, not mailboxes, the election boxes. And that's a real problem. And there's video about that. And the guy that was doing that that was recording it got beat up as a consequence of that. And then I was talking about the fabricated video here in Pennsylvania. We know it's fake, but it looks like it's real. So how do you determine what's real and what's fake? That's really the question here. And even Darth Putin was in the act saying it's not who votes that matters, but it's who counts the votes. And here, this is where they had like 2 ballots in Georgia, and it looked like one. Remember that? Like 2 ballots? Okay, so that's an important point. But look, listen to Margarita Simonian about, oh, I don't know, this was sometime in the summer, what she had to say here. Listen, actually, I shouldn't really talk about it, but I will roughly outline it, how her propaganda works. We create many sources of information that are not tied to us, while the CIA tries to figure out that they're tied to us. They already have an enormous audience. Sometimes they find them and close them down. Some mornings you wake up 600 channels are gone all at once. While they're shutting them down, we're already creating new ones. So it's like whack-a-mole. How do you deal with this? So let's assume that she's right and this is actually happening and she's doing these nefarious things. How do you spot credible information? Well, this is from TRADOC, the Training and Doctrine Command from the U.S. Army. So here are some points. First, be curious. Independently verify the source of information. It's more than one source reporting the same thing, or is it the only place that you've seen information? That's my first line of defense. Like when I see something that seems like, no, this didn't really happen, I go out and check and see if I can find it in other verifiable sources. Number 2, be reflective, pause, reflect, investigate, especially if you immediately have an emotional reaction, because that's what they're trying to get you to do, which is the primary goal of fake news producers. So if you have a visceral reaction to something, that's a sign that something might not be right. Number 3, actively investigate your news source. Select news sources known for high quality investigative reporting. So I talk about like get something from the AP or Reuters or the BBC, and I know people will say with BBC or the New York Times or Wall Street Journal, and some of you will react to some sources, some of you will react to other sources. But if you can find them in both sources simultaneously, you probably have something, as opposed to Bob's blog 56902. Like that's not going to be helpful. Okay, search for these sources directly. Social media algorithms present information that reinforces your current views, not a balanced view. So it's dangerous to just rely on social media because it's telling you more of what you want to hear to keep you on longer. So just be aware of that. Next, look for in-depth coverage. Look for lengthy articles, long-form reporting that capture the complexity of the topics, and beware of people that just show you headlines, because I've seen headlines that are twisted, and that's why I do so much highlighting, because I'm trying to make sure that you're actually seeing, like I didn't just show you a headline and then go a whole different direction. Next, use care before sharing news content on social media. So before you spread something, make sure that what you spread is credible. And that is, you do those 5 things and it'll be very, very much less likely that you're going to be contaminated by false information. Will you see it sometimes? Sure. And when you do, just double down your efforts on making sure that doesn't happen. Look, I talk about how I want to be the credible Hulk. The credible Hulk always cites his sources, so I do my level best to do that. By the way, this came from the Chicago Public Library. That's where I got this credible Hulk meme from. And so that's why I spend the time. And I know I'm not the most exciting guy to watch with all the highlighting and, you know, reading the content and that sort of thing, but I'm trying to show you, yes, I'm not making this stuff up. This is where I got this, and I got it from either a legitimate source that I trust, like an Anton Gerashenko, or a legitimate news source like AP or Reuters or Euromaidan Press or something along those lines. Okay, I hope that little 5 minutes helps you understand more effectively how you can filter things, because that was a lot of news about fraud and so-called fraud in one day. All right, my friends, thank you for the time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.